Everybody, Kaoiji here. So if you guys haven't already been checking out the news between base PSO2 and NGS, you guys already know that the anniversary event, the 10th anniversary event, is going to be underway and starting this upcoming June. Also, it's going to have certain systems already available now, so keep a look on the website for that information. But with the 10th anniversary coming up, it's got me thinking about the 9th anniversary and the way that that was handled. Now, we had a shop that was available in base PSO2 JP, which basically you went in, you played the game, you played Burning Rangers, and there was a shop that was available that had all of the previous camos as well as event rewards from basically the entire history of base PSO2. And Global never got that. There were also things that were available in the shop that basically that were exclusive to that shop. And it got me thinking about the actual level of parity between base PSO2 and the parity that they promised us when base PSO2 Global had launched. And there are still a lot of things that we have that they don't, and vice versa. It's actually more stacked against JP not having some of the really good quality of life features that we have. Whereas Global, the only couple of things that you can honestly say that we don't have is some of the NPC shops, like the anniversary shops, some of the collaborations, these new things that came with this anniversary shop. It's just a problem overall. And honestly, I think that for the future of the game, this needs to be something that has to be addressed at some point. And the reason why I think this is a problem is mainly because a lot of players are filling the comment sections on YouTube as well as in the headline streams of things that they want for base PSO2, not even the suggestions that they could use to improve NGS. There's still this large group of players who are like, okay, why does Global have this, these shops, and why does JP have these NPCs and urgent quests that Global doesn't have? Now, I completely understand things like collaborations, because for the most part, those aren't available anymore. Contracts may have expired. They might have to renew them for Global. There might be new licensors. So there's this whole things for collaborations that just makes sense not to have. But for the baseline things that are like the shops, the NPCs, the actual amount of quote unquote content, you know, those are things that both games should just be on par with each other for. Now, I'm recording this video live over at my Twitch channel on twitch.tv/Mark. Links are going to be in the description down below. And so, yeah, stop by and have a good time with us. Now, one of the things that I kind of see there is I see a lot of these suggestions, and without these people being satisfied, they're not even looking at NGS. They're still like, okay, well, just give us the things that we want in base PSO2. Because then I got to thinking that NGS would actually be a better game if they were able to get the feedback that they're looking for specifically for NGS without the conversation of base PSO2 in mind. But when you have so many people who are still stuck on base PSO2, obviously that conversation becomes clouded, because now people aren't able to give proper amounts of feedback for the game that they're looking for. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't situation here for Sega when they're looking for feedback for the game that they're currently building, when the game that they kind of put on autopilot is what people at least want on par with the other region involved. Now, in my chat, for the most part, I have a person by the name of Ratmut who wants to say that they sent in a ticket to Sega where they asked about the difference in urgent quests, and it basically being that PSO2 JP and PSO2 Global are two different services. And while that's completely understandable for the most part, it's also not okay, considering the fact that the promise originally when this game was first announced over at E3 to officially come out, we're not talking about the 2012 announcement for base PSO2, was that we were going to be on par for both regions, every single thing. And while most of that is true, there's still the small little things here and there that we're still waiting on about a year later. And like I said, a lot of the reasons why I'm bringing up even base PS2 in the first place, despite the fact that I think that they're two different games, is mainly because this is now a community standpoint. When you start looking at these things, it's the community who should obviously want to be happy, right? Because they're the ones who are currently playing both games. Now, they did good, in my opinion, by releasing New Genesis, but they did terribly by releasing New Genesis when they did. And that is a 100% fact, because when New Genesis launched, it was not in a good state. And a lot of people can completely agree with that. However, the idea now is that the game is called PSO2 New Genesis. So there are still a lot of people who still can't take that disconnect between those two games away. Even though me personally, I think that they're two separate entities. So having the parity, like those urgent quests that are not available anymore, having the combat systems that are not available anymore, not old type weapons, but like the anniversary events, the items that were available, some of the extra hard exploration zones and things of that nature, all of those things should just be available so that way everyone can be happy and still enjoy all of what the game has to offer. Because the way that I see it as of right now is that while New Genesis is getting better, there's still things left unfinished in its base game. Now, sure, there's still options for them to be able to bring back some of the older camos from the anniversary events and things like that for base PS2 Global. But the thing that changes this conversation is, like I said, JP doesn't have features that base PS2 Global does. So they don't have the photon badge shop or some of the things that we have. They don't have the ability to get the urgent quest triggers that we have. So basically, the only way that they're able to have their urgents is if it's completely random as the game continues to go on. And while they might have more, there's no shop for them to start them by themselves. They have to get them through other means, like drops from the urgents themselves. We also have the rising weapon badge system that just makes things incredibly easy. So JP should already have these things. Now, the difference being is that they did have the other systems that were in place, like the seasonal or the yearly badges that were available. But that's still nowhere near how incredible the rising weapon badge shops that we had in global were. So JP should obviously get those. So bottom line, the thing that I'm trying to say is that base PS2 should in fact get a lot of the updates, because it would just make the conversation easier. More people would wind up in finding reasons to enjoy NGS and or even playing both games if they had all of the content. Because right now there are a lot of people who are playing base PS2 exclusively but are a little bit torn, mainly because they don't have the features that would make their gameplay that much better or easier that the other region does. So I would hope that at least during the 10th anniversary, this is something that they at least make a call back to. Maybe there's something that they add to base PS2, because while a lot of people can argue that it is a waste of development time, they should just not even worry about base PS2 anymore. It's still a very major point for the community, especially since the two games are linked and you still have rewards that are available in base PS2, like Star Gems, that are very important, especially in New Genesis. And plus, it's the 10th anniversary of PS2. That's a huge milestone. And it's the first anniversary for New Genesis. And it's the second anniversary for New Genesis, or for base PS2 Global. So it's really awesome just to see how things are. And it would be a really cool thing to be able to see Sega do, to be like, all right, hey, listen, we get that, you know, the community is very important to us. And here's just showing you that you are important. And that's kind of where I'm at with this. I like what Sega's doing, and I'm very excited for the Gavaris region. But with this 10th anniversary more specifically going on, I kind of want them to, you know, bring the communities closer together, I think is the easiest way to describe that. Because there's still certain things that kind of alienate the two communities, because they can't bond over certain events. They can't bond over certain story moments. And I'm not even talking about collaborations or items or even certain story cutscenes. I'm talking about just the actual content within the base game and or New Genesis. But these are just my personal opinions, and honestly, these are just some of the thoughts that I currently have. So one of the things that I kind of want to leave off to you is, what do you think? Now, I've already asked you guys the question in a previous video, what would you do to make New Genesis better? But now, what would you do to make the overall community better? Like, would you continue to update base PSO2? Would you like certain things to be added in New Genesis? Just an overall arcing question where that would make this game and the community better as a whole. So leave that down in the comment section below. And thank you guys again for watching this video. It was the first time I made a video live on Twitch in the manner that I am right now. So yeah, it's kind of fun. But anyway, guys, thank you guys again for watching. Stay awesome, stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out.